So the next question, question number 3 we have is draw a labeled diagram of female reproductive system. Now let's make female reproductive system. As we know that female reproductive system is consisting of a pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tubes and a uterus. So first we are going to make a uterus. This is uterus, which is inverted pear shaped. This is cervix, and finally we have vaginal canal. Now this portion, this swollen portion you can see is the fundus part of uterus. From here a fallopian tube arises like this, and the finger-like projections at the end of the fallopian tubes. Now we are going to make a pair of ovaries here. Ovaries. Which is connected to the pelvic wall of our body and as well as to the uterus with the help of ligaments. The help of ligaments. So these are the ligaments which are connecting the ovaries to the uterus as well as to the pelvic wall of our body. Now we are going to make the layers inside the uterine cavity. So this is a structure of female reproductive system. Now we are going to label this diagram. As we know, this is ovaries. So this is ovary, which always occur in pairs. This is fallopian tube, a pair of fallopian tube we have in our female reproductive system, but we have different parts or compartments in the fallopian tube. As we can see, the touching portion of finger-like projections of the fallopian tube, which actually collects the ova from ovary and it conducts to the fallopian tube, inner parts of fallopian tube. This finger-like projections of the fallopian tube is known as fimbriae. So these finger-like projections are fimbriae. Then we have a swollen region inside the fallopian tube. This is ampullary region, or we can call it ampulla. Ampulla. Then we have next region which is close to the uterus. That region of fallopian tube which is in the close region to the uterus is known as isthmus. So I am writing here, this portion is known as isthmus. So this is the labeling of fallopian tube we have completed with. Now let's come towards the uterus, which is single in number, and this swollen region on the upper side of the uterus, you can see this is the fundus part. This is fundus part of uterus. This is the uterus body of uterus, and inside which we have a cavity in which the baby actually resides. This cavity is known as uterine cavity. Uterine cavity. Below this you can see this is cervix, and here we have is vagina. So we are completed with the labeling of a female reproductive system. Last thing which is remaining in this diagram is the labeling of walls of uterus. So from outside to the inner sides we are having 3 layers of uterus, and the outermost layer of the uterus is known as perimetrium. Perimetrium, which is a protective layer, inside which the middle layer we have is myometrium. which contributes in the contractions during labor. Then inside we have the innermost layer of uterus, that is endometrium. Endometrium, which undergoes cyclical changes and constitute pregnancy as well as menstruation cycle. So this is the complete labeled structural diagram of female reproductive system.